All right, stand by for the bell. I am Ruth's stunt double today. We're going to call this meeting of the best Rotary Club in the universe to order. We're going to start with our invocation. We have Steve Dahl, you're doing our invocation this morning,
Yes, I am.
afternoon.
All right, bow our heads. Dear Lord, please bless this food to nourish our bodies. We ask you to provide energy and patience to our auction committee so that Sedro Woolley Rotary can continue our work in the community. We're thankful for District 50/50 in Rotary International for the work fostering international relationships and projects to serve the world. Amen.
All right, thank you. Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. And then our four-way test. Is it the truth? Is it fair to all concerned? Will it build goodwill and better friendships? Will it be beneficial to all concerned? And we have Chris Rothenbuehler in charge of a song today.
Well, I was going to make everybody sing happy birthday to David, but I'm not going to put him on the spot. Well, I think I got him earlier anyway, so that'll come back around to you for happy bucks. So I did find a song that I haven't heard in a very long time, and I thought most of you have probably heard it. So I'm going to actually just start with the chorus, but there we go. It's a world of laughter, a world of tears. It's a world of hopes and a world of fears. There's so much that we share that it's time we're aware. It's a small world after all. 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 It's a small, small world.
All right. Thank you, Chris. And if anybody has that resonating in your head for the rest of the day, her information, contact information is in the book. You can give her a call. Do we have any visiting Rotarians besides our guest speakers today, Stephanie and David? No visiting Rotarians. Do we have guests of Rotarians? Joellen's got a guest now that she's got a mouthful of food.
Yes, I do. And she might be a familiar face. Stephanie Boggs, brought her.
All right. We have a couple things of club business from my end, and then I'll open it up. Do we have anybody on auction related stuff that wants to talk right now or needs to talk right now? Okay, Travis is not here, so we need to be getting our items in. We have slips on the table. I'm not going to go over which copies of which. I never do it right anyway, so I'm not going to risk that. But let's start getting those in. And Rebecca, do we have anything that you needed to say now that you have a mouthful of food? All right, I'll find somebody else that's eating. One of the things I'm going to be starting to do right now is reviewing committees and the organization. And let me know if there's anything on the committees that need to be adjusting that you've seen that you'd like to change. Carl, would you like to see me afterwards or right now? Okay, got it. You'll be right after I get done with a couple more things. The next thing on my list, we've always had teams in the past. We've had monthly teams, and we tried the teamless approach. David Brick and I talked just a moment before the meeting, and I think he and I are kind of on the same boat, thinking of going back to assigned teams. Thoughts, yay or nay? How about anybody a yay? Back to teams? Okay. Anyone strongly opposed? Chris is like, it'll work either way. You'll probably do your assignments. So we're probably going to go back to teams. And one of the things that I was considering we're considering teams, is it was kind of hit or miss on whether you had a very active team captain. So those of you that show up on a regular basis and do a lot of work, you'll probably have more work to do and expected to show up even more, because that's kind of what we're needing for some of our captains. But one of the things that I've noticed over the last, well, I've been in Rotary since 2010. Almost anybody can step up the plate and do any one of the things that we do. Step up here and going from the script, do this, step in and do the raffle. And a lot of people do just step in and do that at the last moment. So I think we need to just remember we always have that in our pocket. But I think we're going to go back to teams, and I'm going to start working on the construction of teams. So kind of expect that in the future. And one other thing, there's a grant seminar that I have to go to, and we need one other person to go. Mike Schweigert, you want to talk to Ellen and see if she wants to go? It's on the 29th. It's a Saturday. Oh, Ellen, if you want to take a look at your calendar, see if you're interested. It's at the Silver Reef Casino. Is that the one that's up in Ferndale? Or you can go to Surrey this Saturday. But we've got some time for the 29th if you'd like to go, or if anybody else is interested in going. So just let me know if you're interested. And Jeff, could you get the mic to Carl?
Thank you, President-elect Mr. Tucker. That's awesome. Hey, a shout out to that training. I've been several times, and it's a really good one. If you have any interest in international project work, Teak and I welcome anybody to our committee. Speaking of international project work, we just funded an ambulance not too long ago, and it got held up at the border because of the tariff spat, but it finally made it through. It was stuffed full of donations. It arrived down in Mexico at the municipality that it was donated to. They unloaded it, and within 6 hours of it arriving, it was put into service, and it essentially saved a life. The person had to be transported 6 hours away by ambulance, and they used this ambulance, and a day before they wouldn't have been able to do it. So congratulations to all of us for helping get it done.
Thank you, Carl. Do we have any other announcements, any other business before we get into raffle and such?
Just briefly, I'm expecting, it's a little delayed this year, but I'm still expecting to get the applications from the school for the scholarship committee. So please be aware that that's coming down the pike.
Okay, and I think Chris has something right back there, Jeff.
I know everybody's being hit up and tapped out for auction sponsorships and all that type of stuff, but the concert series, I'm just still about $2,500 short to fund the bands, the sound, and advertising. So ask around if there's any businesses that want to sponsor. It's just $500 to start. $1,000 sponsors get to vote on the band lineup. So spread the word for me. Thanks.
All right. Anything else? Okay, one thing that I did have a note. It is good to see Becky back in the fold here. Welcome home. Good to see Rod. Thank you for coming today, Rod. It's good to see. It was almost like you both kind of stepped right back in the house, and we're happy to see you again. It's like you hadn't even been gone. Appreciate it, you guys coming today. And with that, we have a raffle. We have 3 numbers to draw today.
We do. We'll get this rolling. Pick 3 numbers. All right. First one is 18.
I'm gonna withdraw. I won both times last week.
All right.
Why don't you reconsider that one?
How about 59? All right, Chris is going to take one. Number 5. David's going to spin. Oh, sorry.
What's that current term? Wah, wah, wah.
The last one's 46. Here we go.
All right, Tim.
Yeah. Oh, winner chooses Huskies or Cougars to pay $2 a piece. Huskies are going to pay $2. I like that.
All right, Jeff, you're our sergeant at arms.
Hey, all right. So unfortunately I have to get out of here pretty quickly because I had an appointment get bumped up to 1 o'clock. So I'm going to be somewhat surgical. So first of all, I'm sorry I'm not going to be able to be here for your program. Just a reminder that if you do have to leave early, it's important to apologize to the program, and we can go back and watch it later on YouTube. So anyway, I will probably try to get that done today. So there's my $2 for the Huskies, and also my $2 for being an early leaver. Any other early leavers that haven't paid, please pay. I don't know if that fell out of the habit, but that is supposed to be that way. If you have a birthday this month, that's $2, anniversary $3. All right. So as I said, scholarships are coming. I have a list of tuition for some of our fine institutions of higher learning. So starting with this table, what do you think it costs to go to UW in just tuition, not books, housing, or anything else for 1 year this school year? What's the tuition before you within $100? Sorry, okay, within $500. We'll go that way. Well, just the tuition, no, it's $12,973. All right, so because they assume that everyone there is a little dumber, what do you think it is at WSU? You were close. It's 11,884. So go ahead and toss in $1. How about over at Central? Central, they recognize you're going to have to live in Ellensburg, so it's a little cheaper than. How much do you think it costs for a year in Ellensburg? How much? $72.31. So it's actually a pretty good deal. How about over at Western? You're an alumni of Western. You got your Western shirt on. You should know how much it is. $8,241. So that's so Skagit is 4,773. Gonzaga is 56,140. So if you want to go private. So just very briefly, just to get a little bit more money out of everybody. If you've ever been on the scholarship committee, please throw in $1. If you've never been on the scholarship committee, please throw in $2. If you've ever been a chair of the scholarship committee, even a co-chair, Aldi, throw in another $2. And if you've ever, how much do you got left in there? I was gonna say, if you've ever been chair and then left and made your son take it over, go ahead and toss in another 10. And we'll go on to Happy Bucks.
I was hoping to have more than $3 for happy, but happy birthday, David.
have a few happy bucks left over. I'm happy to be back. I had a great 2 months in Arizona. I went to every Rotary meeting. I helped out at the food bank. The club adopted me as one of their amigos, but just a really fun time. And on the way back, I was inspired by President-elect Lynn Tucker to go to Page. He had gone through there and posted some pictures, and I was like, man, this looks so cool. So we spent a couple nights in Page and went through the canyons. It was amazing.
It's 12:30.
I've got a happy $5. I had a great conversation with former Rotarian and now a Rotarian down in Arizona, Beth Modden. We had a conversation about my work. So she said to say hello to everyone. So hello from Beth. What time is it now? 12:30 still. You're welcome.
Wow. Congratulations. I knew it was possible.
So I've got a happy $5. We just got back Friday from our trip to Portugal for 2 weeks, and we had a wonderful time. Portugal is a really amazing country, a lot of history, and we had pretty nice weather, though it did get down as cold as 60 during the daytime. And you would be amazed. They all had puffy coats on and big scarves, and I mean, it looked like it was the middle of winter in Antarctica. But anyway, we had a wonderful time.
I got a happy $3 here. My grandson Mason has applied to a few universities and colleges. So far, he's been accepted at PLU, Western, and Gonzaga. We're waiting on the fourth one, the UW, but I'll let Josh make that announcement.
Kate online has her hand raised. Go ahead, Kate.
Thank you. I have a happy 10. Anna and I got to come up on Monday and do dictionaries at Evergreen, and that was very fun. Anna had a good time meeting all the other kids, and so that was really exciting to see how much the kids love getting those dictionaries, and they were very thankful and very excited to write their names in them and everything. And then I have a happy 9 because it is my grandma's 99th birthday today, which is pretty cool.
And I'm going to close it with a happy 5. We've been going through this remodel of my house for a long time. We now have working toilets in the addition, which is great. And as we speak, there are people at our house painting it. So things are moving along. So anyway, thank you.
All right. So we are now at the point of early leavers. If you've got to scoot out of here. And our program today is going to be Stephanie Hooper and Dave Lukov doing a little Rotary trivia today. So I'm going to turn it over to Stephanie.
Okay, so today is the day we find out how much you know about Rotary. We tried not to make it too complicated because, you know, we're Rotarians and sometimes we can't remember those things. In fact, I can't remember things. I have to write everything down these days. So what we're going to do is on your tables, there is a packet that you can now peek at. And just remember to refer mentally to the 4-way test as you're doing it, because you can't Google for the answer. You have to go on what you know. And there's 18 questions, and there are some random pens on the tables in case you didn't bring a pen. And if there's not 8 people at your table, if there's more than 8, I don't think there's more than 8 at any table. Each packet has 8. So has everybody got one and ready to go? All right. I'll set the timer. Okay, so I'm going to start with the first one. It's, some of them in there are pretty easy. The first one, what year was Rotary founded? 1905. And it was on February 23rd of 1905. So we just celebrated 120 years.
Number two, I think probably most of you would know who started Rotary. It was Paul Harris. In fact, can anybody for extra points name the 4 founding members of Rotary? Well, Paul Harris being one, Hiram Shorey, who was a merchant tailor, Sylvester Shilley, who was a coal dealer, and Henry Ruggles, who was a printer.
Okay, and what was the primary reason that Paul Harris started Rotary? It was friendship. The other two came along pretty quickly after that, but he wanted to create a club to exchange ideas and form friendships. And at that time, attorneys couldn't advertise. So it was also a way for him to begin to promote his business. So networking was a component also, but friendship is the correct answer.
How many members are in Rotary International? This is a little trick question. If you add Rotaract members, it's going to be C, 1.4 million. But without Rotaract, it's A, 1.2 million. So if you got one of those, that's correct.
And just as a side note, there are 272,000 members in the United States. So how many clubs are there in Rotary International? There are 46,000. And our district has 55 clubs and 6 Rotaract clubs. So our district has a total of 61 clubs. And in 2004, our district had 2,800 members, and now we're just a little under 2,000 members. And I think about that 800 member difference over 20 years, and I think COVID obviously had an impact on it, but I think that if you think about every club, like I belong to the Burlington Rotary, and we were in the 60s, not like in the 60s the time, but in the 60s of membership in the 2004 era, and now we're in the 50s. So we've gone down 10 members. And most clubs, I think at one point you were over 100, and at this point you're in the 90s. So I think if you add up all the clubs going down 5, 10, or 15, that would attribute to that membership loss. But membership has plateaued. And in fact, in 1995, it plateaued, and it pretty well stays the same.
And by the way, I'm proud to say the Sedro Woolley Club during my year as district governor was truly one of the largest clubs in the district. You were up there with Chilliwack and Everett, and both of those fell under 100. So congratulations. You've done an amazing job to me as a club. Next, what year did women join Rotary? Well, let me give you the chronology. In 1985, a California club admitted a woman to Rotary, and they were expelled. In 1987 was a Supreme Court ruling saying that women should be able to join a service club. So officially, it was 1989 when the Council on Legislation changed the bylaws to allow women. So 1989.
All right. Who is the current president of Rotary International? And that is Stephanie Urchik. She is an American, and previous to that was Jennifer Jones. She is a Canadian, and she was the first RI president, and it only took 30 years from the time women could be in Rotary to have an international president. Was a good thing. And then Mario is actually our president-elect for next year.
Number 8, which of these is not a Rotary youth program? Well, I don't know what the heck RAIL is, so it's C. RILA is Rotary Youth Leadership Awards, and the S is Youth Engaged in Service.
And just adding a little bit about RILA, I think you have sponsored members for RILA in the past, haven't you? I think so. And that's for 18 to 30-year-olds. And a lot of them, they're encouraged to join Rotary and Rotaract after that time. And although it said rail, there is Yale, which is what I just mentioned. Next, how is Rotary structured? Well, it's clubs, areas, districts, zones, and then Rotary International. And if anybody wants to know, we're Zone 28. I know that means a lot to you, but we are Zone 28, if anybody ever asked you.
Now, within District 5050, what area are we in? Well, we're sure not in 51. We're in area I. Now, for bonus points, does anybody know what clubs are in area I? Shout them out, Carl. Got it. So 5 clubs are in area I, and Stephanie is our assistant governor who helps promote and guide the presidents in those clubs.
And of course, that comes, what is the role of the assistant governor? And it is to assist the governor, the district governor, and to support clubs and presidents. And the district always calls it the best job in the district. And I can tell you, and I think Becky can agree with you, she was assistant governor before me. It is the best job in the district. It's flexible. You get to go visit clubs, and you know, sometimes you get a free meal, and you get to meet some of the troublemakers in clubs. So, you know, even though there weren't the right answers, it's a 3-year commitment. And then my job is also David mentioned the clubs, Carl mentioned the clubs, that those are the clubs that I go and visit on a regular basis. And it can lead to being a district governor if that's something you so desire. It's not required, and it's the last thing on my mind. This stops here when I'm done with my assistant governor. I love Rotary, but you know, I also have other life. And so also that I meet monthly with the presidents. I meet monthly with the other assistant governors. There's 13 of us in the district. And I'm here to be a compass, not to solve problems, but to assist presidents and to answer questions they might have.
All right. What is the role of the district governor? How about number 3, provide leadership and supervision of the clubs in the district? I think, again, what's interesting as a district governor is one does not have authority to come in and just shake up a club. Clubs have their own autonomy. Where a district governor comes in is to guide, assist, and support. You know, when I came in, everybody said, oh, geez, he's going to change the rules. I can't do that to an individual club. So very important to know.
All right, this is where we separate those who know Rotary and those who don't. What are the Rotary 7 areas of focus? Now, most of our projects that we do fit into these areas of focus. And so the first one would be peace building and conflict prevention. There we go. Second one, disease prevention and treatment, water sanitation and hygiene, maternal and child health, basic education and literacy, community economic development, and the last one, which was added by RI in June of 2020, is the environment.
Oh, okay. There we go. And so there are 5 Rotary avenues of service. And I think it's, again, important to know what these are. First, club activities. Being engaged in a Rotary club is a central part of the success of Rotary. Vocational. This is an area not only where you are able to use your professional skills to mentor people, but it's also a way for youth to better understand what is out there professionally. I know in my life, having had a couple of mentors, that was a huge help in my 20s. So that's an important area. Number 3, community. And obviously you care about the Sedro Woolley community and it's all of its work. And so this is an important part of Rotary, an avenue of service. Number 4, international. That there's a world beyond Sedro Woolley in which Rotary is engaged and making a huge difference in the lives of many. And finally, what is called new generations, or what we would think of as youth. Rotary plays a huge part in helping guide youth to be healthy, successful, and productive in the world.
Okay, the foundation. When was the foundation established? It was established in 1917 by Art Klumpf. And it was at the 1917 Rotary International Convention. And the first donation was $26.50. And that foundation now exceeds $1 billion. The first gift that I could find in my research was that in 1929, they gave their first gift to the International Society of Orphaned Children or Crippled Children, and it was $500. And of course, Rotary has gone on from there to give a whole lot more. And the thing that I really appreciate about our Rotary Foundation and how it stands in the world is that Charity Navigator gives it a 4-star rating, which is the best you can get. And we've consistently had that rating for many, many years. And it's based on strong financial health, accountability, transparency, and it exceeds industry standards. So we should be proud of what our foundation does and proud that when we contribute to it, it's going for good causes and handled well. Yes, Carl. I believe so. I think that. Yeah, just a little. Yeah.
Well, and when you see a lot of the charitable donations on television, advertising, all of that, there's so much overhead that goes into it that your dollar really sometimes doesn't even go for what it's all about. So that's why I'm so proud of the Rotary Foundation. What is the current attendance policy of Rotary International? Well, it's a trick question. It's 50%, but your club can set its own attendance mandates. So if you want, our club is 60% in Mount Vernon. So you can set it. That's sort of the Rotary expectation and minimum.
And what makes a successful club? You know what? This is also a trick question because every one of them is correct. And the one about everyone being the same kind of weird, recently where I was at the PELS, which is the President-elect Learning, and that's where Lynn was at, learning how to be your best president ever, right? And I was session support for a training on successful clubs. And this was the feedback from one of the persons in the room, that that's what makes a successful club. And I thought, you know, there's some truth to that. So I'm going to include that. And when Jennifer Jones was president, one of the things that she also added to that was purpose and comfort and care. And it's a positive environment. So, you know, every club, what you have to sometimes do is look and see what your strengths are and what do you do the best of all those things? And those would be the attributes that you would want to use to promote your club to get new members.
And I would add the fact that when a person comes in here to the room, they're a guest, and do they feel like they're welcomed? And more important, do they feel like they belong? Clubs that are successful have people who feel like they're part of a family and they belong. And I saw that in my travels last year as a district governor. The clubs that were inviting, engaging, where members felt like they were belonging to it, those are the ones that were growing. And finally, where can you learn more about Rotary? Well, actually, all 3 of those have some bearing, but probably number 3 is the best. Although what I'm going to suggest to you, the best way to learn about Rotary is go to any search engine like Yahoo or Google, type in what you want to know about Rotary, and it'll probably pop up. And I have to admit, that's how sometimes I find out about specific areas of Rotary life.
Okay, so I give you a moment to tally up your total. David threw in some bonus points, but so anyway, you should get, if you got all of them right, you're at 28 or 30 if you counted bonus points. So if everybody's got a total? Okay. So while you're totaling that, I was curious, did anybody learn anything new about Rotary today they didn't know? Oh, Becky, what did you learn?
I'd forgotten about the avenues of service. I kind of had some of those, and then the 7 areas of focus. I knew them, but I just couldn't come together with it.
Yeah. Well, I still have to, I'd have to look at them. I wouldn't be able to probably come up. It would take me a while to remember all 7, but they're good things to know about Rotary. All right. Did anybody else learn anything? Gosh, you guys knew it all? Then that means everybody got 28? Wow. Okay. So who got 28? Okay. I didn't think so. I wouldn't have got 28 either. Who got 20 or better? And you didn't learn anything new today? Okay. Who got 15 or better? All right. So we got 3 at this table. So how many did you get? I'm sorry, what? 18. You got 18. Okay. Becky? 17. And who was the other hand, Louis? Was it you? No. 15. So, all right. So we've got first, second, third prize here. So first prize is a $15 gift card to the Apothecary Coffee. And it is also this wonderful beer koozie. You can use it for soda, but it's the four-way beer test. And it's the first one, is it ice cold? Is there enough for all concerned? Will it build good times and much better friendships? And can it get any better than this? All right, there we go. And then you have the next one? So that's a $10 to Starbucks. And who had Louis? So there's $5 to Starbucks. All right.
Just a final word that I hope will help you understand why we did this today. And it's funny, I've been in 6 Rotary clubs, starting in North Carolina. I tell people the first 5 kicked me out. But what I found finally in the 6th club was how much broader and deeper Rotary is. Yes, it's great to do service in the community, and we've got a lot of needs, and you're certainly filling the bucket with that, with education, with Helping Hands Food Bank, with a lot of other projects that you are involved with here in the community. You're helping out, and huge. But I'd never really gone beyond the local community. And what I've discovered is a world that needs our time and talents, but also a way that I feel like I'm doing purposeful work in the world. That's why I've been so engaged in Rotary. Meeting people internationally has been absolutely fascinating, something that I never took advantage of in the first 5 clubs. Being able to go, as you saw last week, on a Rotary friendship exchange to Hungary, unheard of. I wouldn't have thought of doing that 3 years ago. But the chance for me to meet Rotarians from Hungary and for them now to come over to the United States and Canada in September is really special. For me to meet other people around the world. When I was at the last Rotary International Convention in Singapore, these 5 young youth from Nepal come up. They're Rotaractors. Now, first of all, they were really excited that they met a district governor from the United States, I guess, but they were so excited about wanting to better the world. And I thought, wow, look at what we have in common. We may have different cultural traits, we may have different languages, we may have different skin color, we may have the whole mega, but they want to do something in common. And that was exciting. So I hope you'll take advantage. As Carl's doing with the projects, take advantage of what's beyond your local club. And by the way, if you wear your Rotary pin and you go any place to any club, you're welcome to come in. So if you show up in Nevada and Arizona, as Becky did, I know I showed up in Montana on vacation to 2 clubs. Boy, they rolled out the red carpet. It was really special. So take advantage of those opportunities. I am convinced it will enrich your life. Thank you so much for having us today.
All right. I'd like to thank David and Stephanie for coming today. And thank you to Tiffany. She's already gone, for showing up today. Next meeting, we're going to have Mark Nielsen. Are you program next meeting? All right. Riveting. Got it. Now, something that David did just say about showing up at other clubs and, being feel welcome. I tried that. I showed up in a club in, I wanted to go to the club in Milan, Missouri. Didn't work out quite as well. The treasurer had embezzled all the money and had also embezzled all the money from the company she worked in town and disappeared. And I only found that out because my dad's girlfriend is a gossip and works at the courthouse. So it doesn't always work out exactly sparkling, but I think more often than not, I did show up at a club outside of Bremerton and it felt like I was here. It just felt like home. Louis has something here real quick before we wrap up. You're not going to chastise us for something, are you? Okay.
I want to make a comment about one of the questions on this. In 1987, I had only been a member for about 5 years, and I will never forget. And the reason I circled 1987 was because that's what I didn't forget, was the court decision. But in 1989, I think it was that year that Annie, I forget her last name. Pardon? She came into the club. And I want to tell you, from that point on, the women that have been in this club have been a great story, because Annie was a real go-getter. Remember her, John? And boy, the first auction, when Annie came in, boy, she was a fireball. So now, but I remember some of the heartaches over that court decision, and it was the wrong thinking. Thank you.
All right. Thank you, Louis. All right. With that, we're going to wrap up. If you could help police up the room, put tables away. And once again, thank you everybody for coming. And wait, I got to ring the bell. Hang on. Ruth will fire me if I don't ring the bell to close the session.